Hello everyone and welcome to Ink Paper. My name is Marta and today we're going to be reviewing Sarah J Maas's first adult novel, Crescent City. So House of Earth and Blood is the first book in the Crescent City series. In this book we follow Bryce, who is half human, half fae. Human because of her mom and fae because of her dad. She has been also military trained by her stepdad, who is also a human because he was in the military. And right now she's working in an antique store after university. And basically this book is kind of a mixture between the romance, fantasy, urban fantasy novel and crime fiction all mashed together. So I'm not gonna go into more detail because this review is gonna contain spoilers, and if I do I'm gonna spoil you. So if you have not read the book, go read the book and come back when you have read it so that you're not spoiled in it. Now let's go into it. For the sake of being a bit organized, I have divided this review into different points I want to touch. So firstly, let's start with the plot. So I thought the plot of the novel was really well constructed and how everything played out was really well fleshed out and well thought out. I did not expect the ending at all. I will speak about the ending a little bit later, but I think that everything was really well done. I was not expecting Micah to be that bad one, because basically we have this investigation around who is doing all of these murders that are the exact same as Danica's murder, and we figure out that it's this Crystallis demon that's coming up. So Hunt and Bryce are just going all around the city trying to find who this murderer is, and in the end it's just basically Micah who is giving all these people these drugs to kill them, and he is summoning the Crystallis demon so that it seems like it's the Crystallis demon that's killing them, so that he can find the horn, which the horn is a completely other thing, which at the start I knew they were connected somehow. I knew that if you find the horn and who wants the horn, you find the murderer. I did not expect that the Crystallis demon was actually drawn towards the horn. I don't know, I was really mind blown by the plot. And again, I really did think that it was really well done, how everything kind of like jotted together to like form a cohesive story. I don't think there were any plot holes, and if there were any, I think that it's gonna play into the next book, because the end with Josiba and Idas left me mind blown. I wasn't expecting them to know each other, and now we know that Bryce is also special in another way, because they have this sort of like conversation at the end, and I don't know, I just really enjoyed it. I also think that the relationship between Hunt and Bryce and how that slowly evolves was really well constructed as well, because like at the start they're both completely broken. Bryce has been like broken for 2 years already, ever since Danica died, because like she doesn't really have much family apart from her mom and her stepfather. And Danica was kind of her sister, like the way that their relationship was depicted, they were literally sisters and she was another one of the pack. And after her best friend dies and the whole pack died, and probably the person who was going to be her boyfriend, Connor, dies as well, she's like completely devastated. She hasn't even taken care of the wound that the Crystallis demon has given her, which like really speaks deeply about how she feels. Because she's like, no, I kind of deserve this and I want this pain to remind me of what happened. And she only has Juniper, who is too busy with dancing to actually meet with her often enough. And then we have Fury, who has just like completely disappeared, and Bryce hasn't known about her for almost 2 years. Then we have Hunt, who is still mourning the death of his wife? I think she was his wife. And she was killed together with like a lot of the rebels from Pangea, which is the other continent, has had a rebellion. They had a rebellion a long time ago, and he was part of this rebellion against angels. He's an angel, and he was going against angels because this rebellion thought that angels were not treating humans and other lowly creatures in a good way and correctly and how they should be treated, which I completely agree with. And now, because of that, he's a slave. And he was a slave to his wife's sister who is Sandra, and she's a completely terrible person. Now he is a slave to Micah, and he is completely destroyed like that because he has to kill for Micah. Because Micah told him, yeah, you will gain your freedom when you kill the same amount of people that you killed when you were rebelling. And I love how they come together and they kind of don't get on at the start, and Bryce doesn't want him following her, and then slowly they go into this friendship, and then slowly they come together. I don't know, I just thought it was really cute and it was really well built. I really also enjoyed that scene when he just goes like going into her drawers, and he finds this box, and this box is full of like basically My Little Ponies kind of thing, and she's just, oh yes, you found this, oh yes, this is this pony and she's my favorite. I don't know, I just thought it added like a characterization to Bryce, and I really loved it. Now they are together and Hunt is free from being a slave, and Bryce's leg is fine, and she has already had closure with Danica, which I will go into that later. And I don't know what to expect, because knowing Sarah J. Maas, they're not going to stay together. Like, I don't think they will. Most of the fandom don't think that they will either, but who knows. So let's speak about the ending, shall we? If there's something that I didn't quite enjoy that much about the plot of this book, was the end. It wasn't terrible, and I was surprised in many ways, but still, I think that something else could have been done, and I will go further into detail later on. So basically, we have Micah, who has been hunting for the horn, and he is now with Bryce, trying to get the horn to work. No one can help her, because everyone is in the summit, that's an hour and a half away from the city. Everyone of importance. Sandra, the pack, Hunt, everyone. So, Micah is trying to get the horn to work from Bryce's back, because she had it tattooed, and the only place that they didn't look when they were investigating, like they meaning Hunt and Bryce, was a tattoo store, because obviously, no, nothing happened in the tattoo store. I was with Danica when I got my tattoo done. But yeah, she was on like, I don't even remember how many drugs, and probably drunk as well, so she doesn't remember anything. So she has this horn tattooed to her back, and she is also now the Starborn, which I did not see coming. And if you read through the book, there's so many hints about Bryce being Starborn that you don't pick up until you are told that she is Starborn. And she never said anything because she wanted Rune to have the glory, because we were told, yeah, Rune is the Starborn, but the Starborn power is just like diminishing. But it's not, it's just that it's not Rune that has it, but Bryce. And we have all of this scene going on in the library whilst everyone is seeing it at the summit. I was just so stressed because I didn't remember that Jessica's gun could kill like any kind of magical creature, and it was just sitting there in her office. I didn't remember. So I was like, how is she gonna get out of here? So obviously she goes, grabs the gun, Lehaba dies, trying to stop Micah, and that just broke my heart because she's such a wholesome person and she's so lovely, and I love Lehaba. Who doesn't love Lehaba? And she dies trying to stop Micah to get Bryce some more time. And I just like stopped the book and started crying in the middle of this whole action, and I was like, okay, let's continue. And so Bryce grabs the gun from Jessica's office and just downright kills Micah and like vacuums him. And I was like, wait, what? So a half human, half fae with no magical powers, who does have military training because of her stepdad, has just killed one of the most powerful angels in this world. I was just baffled. Like, I did not expect Micah to die. Like, that's the last thing that I would have seen coming. Like, I didn't see it coming at all. And obviously, Bryce then comes out and the horn has worked, because Micah wanted to use the horn to bring all of these creatures from this other world, and because he wasn't Starborn he couldn't use it, but because Bryce is a Starborn, she can use it. So we have all of this going on in the street, everyone's trying to go to shelter, and Bryce is just like trying to help people, and she doesn't manage to get into shelter. And I don't remember when or how, but just Hunt comes in and he appears. Sorry, I read this when it came out back in March. So Hunt appears and he gets really severely wounded, and now Bryce has to save Hunt as well. And the only way of saving Hunt is by making the fall. So now Bryce has to make the fall, and we have been told all throughout the book that you need someone to anchor you so that you don't die whilst you make the fall. And this is where things got to the point where I stopped liking it, because I thought it lost continuity. Because you have been telling me for, I don't know, 600 pages, 700 pages, that for a person to make the fall you need two people. The person that's doing the fall and the anchor. And they can be each other's anchors, that's fine. But you need an anchor. You need a physical being there to make the fall. After you do it, the energy that's created by the fall is what powers the electricity, so it's the first light, and that also has healing powers. So she wants to heal Hunt like that. We have also learned that the gates of the city are communicating gates. So she uses a bit of her power and calls for someone to anchor her. And who comes? Danica's ghost. Danica is a ghost. She is not a person. You cannot have someone that's a ghost anchor you. Everyone in the summit that's seeing it through the cameras are saying it. It is impossible. You cannot do that. And still, Sarah J. Maas makes it happen. Bryce makes the fall, doesn't die, uses like Danica's last spirit powers to like push herself up, and now she is a full-fledged fae. Something which I didn't like about this either is the fact that through the whole book we're also told that she is going to have this smidget of power. She's the least powerful being, she's almost human, her fae blood is not really strong and blah de da de da. She's already starborn, she's already immortal, she has used Danica as her anchor for the fall, which you can't do, and we have been told that. And now she's also one of the most powerful beings. She's almost more powerful than her sibling Rune, if I remember correctly, and she's almost as powerful as her father. And that just, it didn't come out right for me, because you cannot tell me throughout 600 pages that you need an anchor and that Bryce is the least powerful person or one of the least powerful beings, and by the end of it she's one of the most powerful people and she has done the fall with a ghost. And obviously it was really wholesome, like I did enjoy the scene, but I thought it lost continuity. And obviously it's not a plot hole because it's explained like why it happened, but I don't think that it should have happened like that. I think that Bryce shouldn't have had, first, as much power, and secondly, someone should have been there to anchor her, like a real human being or a real like whatever being, but a life person. And obviously the only other person that would feel right would be Hunt, who was half dying. But like, I don't know, it just felt really wrong. Especially because now we are having this trope where Sarah J. Maas writes her females as being like really powerful. So it just didn't stick right with me. Because I'm gonna say some spoilers for the Throne of Glass series and the Akatar series right now. If you have not read them, mute the video until something appears on screen that tells you that you can unmute it. We have basically Aelin, which in book 3 is described basically as a god, and we have Feyre, which at the end of the first book is a fae. These two girls end up being like really powerful. Even though Aelin doesn't end up being the most powerful being in this world, she's Cranaram with Rowan, and Rowan is also really powerful and she can just like grab his magic and do fire magic. So once, okay, twice, yeah, maybe 3 times. Not really. Like, I just hope that Bryce hadn't gotten that much power and just kept her human. Not human, like she could still be Fae, but like a not that powerful Fae, and like she can still have her intelligence and she can have her training and she can be a badass without having that much magic. And I think that that would have completed the book so much better and wouldn't have made Bryce basically another god. So I just think it was something extra, like it didn't need to be there. You could have just had Bryce be a least powerful person, and that would have like suited the book so much better, and you would have like ended this trope, which I'm a bit tired of, to be honest. So let's speak a little bit about the world building in this book, because it's something that I don't think was done well. We basically have most of the world building done in the first like 100 pages of the book, whilst we're also trying to build a friendship between Danica and Bryce that's believable. And basically there's some problems with this. Firstly, I don't know you, but if I am told 90% of the information at the start of the book, by the end, when it becomes relevant, I'm not gonna remember a lot of it. That's the reason why I don't remember a lot of names. I didn't remember that Jessica has had this rifle in her office. I didn't remember what was going on with the gates, so I had to like keep going back to the start to remember who everyone was and why everything was important, because instead of being done gradually, like we have seen Sarah do in like so many other different books, it was just like plopped down at the beginning. We know that this woman can world build. Sarah, you know how to world build. Do it. Do it in a correct manner. Do it in a way that the information comes flooding in slowly. I don't want a tsunami of information, because I will not remember it when it's relevant. I cannot process it. Like my brain cannot process that amount of information in such a short period of time. It just does not work like that. The problems that I have with the world building are not only the fact that we meet everyone and their grandparents at the start of the book, it's also the way that it is written. Because at the very start we have Bryce in the office and then Danica comes in. Danica says something for whatever. After that thing that Danica has said, we have 5 paragraphs or 4 paragraphs or however many paragraphs of world building in relation to what she has said. Like something like, oh, Danica was the most powerful wolf in her pack and she did this and she did that and these people are like the police and blah 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 blah. And we have all of that information, and then we have Bryce answering what Danica has said. Now, by the time I read what Bryce is answering, I have had to process everything that was in the middle, and I need to also remember what Danica has said, which by that time I don't anymore. You can probably see that I don't really have a good memory, but you need to do your world building in a way that's gonna be easy for the reader to understand what's going on. That wasn't easy for me to understand. I am a writer as well. I know that writing worlds is hard, but we know that Sarah can world build. We've seen her world build beautifully, both in Throne of Glass and ACOTAR. I love those world buildings. But this one just doesn't cut it for me, because for me it seems that she's a first timer. I need the world building to be solid, to be something that I understand, something that you can get across to me easily. I don't want it served on a silver platter. Obviously I do want things to think about and I want to figure things out, but I need to understand this world. By you giving me all of this information in a way that's difficult to process and understand, you are not providing that base which I need to understand the rest of the book. Now, I am just speaking for the first book because obviously the second book hasn't come out yet. So I'm hoping that she continues with the world building in the second book and she does it in a better way after all the critics that she has received. Because it doesn't have structure to it. And when I came to the end of the book, I had already forgotten everything that was in the middle. That's why I didn't know that Jessica had a gun in her office, because I had completely forgotten it. It went out of my mind because I had all of this other information to process at the same time. I didn't know who the Asteri were at the end, and I had to keep coming to the beginning to see who everyone was and what everyone was doing. And that is something that I don't tend to have to do with books. Normally the books that I read are their world building is well done, so I can continue, and obviously there's like things that I will miss or whatever that will come together at the end, and I was like, oh, I missed that, but not to this level. You need to provide a base. You need to make your world make sense. I know it's a fantasy novel. I know you're making up this world. It's not like a contemporary book where you need to abide by human rules. But if you make a certain amount of rules, you need to follow them. That's also why I was really annoyed by the Danica anchoring Bryce, and the fact that Bryce has a lot of power, because oh yes, plot twist, but it's a plot twist in a way that doesn't follow your world rules that you have done at the start. And if I go back to the start and I read that you need an anchor that's alive, you cannot give me that at the end. I need everything to like wrap up nicely. Obviously you can have cliffhanger at the end like we have. That's a completely different thing. But the world needs to be solid. I need a solid base to build on. And that base for me, sadly, was not solid enough. So there's something that really annoyed me in this book, and that's the amount of swearing that it uses. Like, just in the first page, there's 5 swear words, and it doesn't tame down during the book. It just keeps up like that. And now, don't get me wrong, I do not mind swear words. I am Spanish. Our swear words are a lot stronger than English ones. And I am completely fine with swearing in English. If you want to do it, go on. I do it sometimes. But one thing is when you're speaking, and another completely different thing is when you're writing. So, if you use that many swear words in a novel, it's not gonna make it gain richness. It's gonna do completely the opposite. To me, the amount of swear words that she uses just reads like a teenager going, ha ha ha, now I can use swear words. I'm gonna pack this thing with swear words. And it just reads like that. It makes the writing, seem childish. Really, really childish. I know that Sarah J. Maas can write beautifully. She does have points in this book when the writing is beautiful. But I so much rather read something like she did in Akotar, or she did in Throne of Glass, where she just says she flipped him off or she swore, because you don't pay that much attention to the swear word and it doesn't take off the writing. Also, don't get me wrong, you can use swear words in writing, but you should use them sparingly. Give it a meaning, because that's a strong word. Don't use it just cause. Give it to a character because it adds to their characteristics. Or maybe something very big has happened and you need to use it because it's like, oh my god, like this has happened. That is a correct use. Well, correct. That is a better way to use it than just like peppering them throughout the whole book just cause I can do it now. And I have read so many books that have you swearing as well. And it doesn't faze me, because the authors have known when to use them and how to use them correctly, and in a way that it adds to the book instead of taking away from the book. And I really do think that this book would have gained so much more richness if Sarah had held back with the swearing and just used it sparingly, instead of using it in every single page, which by the end of the book I was just annoyed by it. It just didn't add anything for me, and it was just there just because she wanted it to be there for no apparent reason. Now, I may be a bit weird about this, because I do like very long books. Like, I don't know, I've heard like a lot of people are put off by long books. I am not. I really love a very big chunky book. One of my favourite books is the first book in the series, and it's 800 pages long. And this one is a very big chunky book. This one is also 800 pages long. But I think that here, it has no point. I think that this book could have been edited to be shorter. And I don't mean like taking away meaningful scenes. Like, you can keep all of those in there. But one, if we fix the world building, that's probably going to take some pages off. If we fix the sweating, that's also probably going to take some pages off. But we still have the fact that there's scenes that are repeated. When I was reading this book, I found myself reading something from Bryce's point of view. And then we turn into Hunt's point of view. And the first few paragraphs of what Hunt tells me, I have already been told with Bryce. So I don't have a specific examples from the book, but let's say for example that they're entering an alleyway. Bryce will describe the alleyway, and we will have like, it's a dark alleyway and the walls were like this and yada 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 yada. And then we have Hunt entering the alleyway, and instead of telling me something different that Hunt has seen and Bryce hasn't, I am told the whole description of the alleyway again, and then I am told what Hunt says differently. I don't need a repeat description of the alleyway. Just tell me something minute to tell me that they're in the alleyway, and something that Hunt says differently, or Ron says differently, or Bryce says differently to the rest of them. I don't want to be reading the same thing over and over. And if that had been edited down, this book would be a lot shorter. Like, I think that they could have edited down this book maybe to like 500, 600 pages instead of like 800. It's something that really hurts me, because to me it seems that they didn't want to touch what Sarah did a lot. Like, I am not an editor. I wish I was. I want to be one day. I obviously don't have a say in the matter, but as a reader, that's what it seems to me. And you don't want to get that across to your readers, because you want to sell the book and you want your readers to enjoy the book, because you need revenue for your company. And if the book seems that it could have been edited down or edited in a different way, you're not getting that across to your readers. And it's just something that really bothered me, because I really enjoy Sarah J. Maas's books, and I really enjoy her writing, and I think that her other books are done beautifully and they are edited beautifully, and this one isn't. So I hope that for the next one we do get a chunky book, but the length is justified. So there is one last point that I want to touch in this book, and I realize that this is probably not Sarah J. Maas's fault, but it's something that really made my blood boil, because I hate spoilers, and the blurb has spoilers. Now, the blurb is normally written by someone in marketing or like public relations or something like that, at least from what I have read. Sometimes editors write them, sometimes the own author writes them, but that's not normal. And in a company like Bloomsbury, I'm guessing that it's the marketing people that write it. So you have someone that probably has not read the book because they don't have time, have like a brief description of what the book is about and what they can put in the blurb, and then they write it. Now, I don't know what the description they had was or what anything was, but you cannot put a spoiler in the blurb. Now, why did this annoy me so much? We have a very wholesome relationship built between Danica and Bryce. I loved how Sarah built their relationship. It was so well written, it was so well done, something that I really enjoyed from this book, how she built all of their relationships. And we have a spoiler in the very start that Danica is going to die. Let me read you the blurb. Bryce Quinlan used to light up Crescent City, partying all night in the clubs where the strict classes of angel, shifter, human and fae merged into a sea of beautiful bodies. And then a demon murdered her closest friends. Excuse me? You cannot have such a friendship building and tell me that they're gonna die outright from the beginning, unless that plays to the plot somehow. I've read a book once that had a murder and you knew that this person was going to be murdered from the beginning, but that played into the plot. That's fine. Not this. I want to be able to follow this friendship and fall in love with this friendship as I did. I loved this friendship so much. In basically what's the span of a day, we get so much going on that you can see how good friends these people are. They're basically like sisters. They live together, they have been living together for 4 years since first year of university. They basically have a pack as well, because like Danica's pack, Bryce is still part of that pack. She's gonna probably date Connor, and I truly thought that this book was gonna be Bryce and Danica finding the horn, because that's what we're set up for. That's what Sarah wants us to think, that Bryce and Danica are gonna go and get the horn, and then Danica suddenly dies together with the rest of the pack. And I really cried when Danica died and the whole pack died, because in that short span of time I had already fallen in love with them. And that's good writing. That's really good writing. And that's spoiled by the blurb. And maybe it's just me, but I hate spoilers. And to me, this just screams like the trailer of Thor Ragnarok. If you guys have not watched Thor Ragnarok and want to watch it, I'm gonna spoil it. But basically in the trailer, we just have Hela like grabbing the hammer and like vaporizing it. Now I knew that Thor was not gonna have a hammer. And I wasn't surprised when I watched the movie that he didn't have a hammer. Because like I knew that that was gonna happen. Now this is exactly the same but in book form. Instead of in the trailer, you're giving it to me in the blurb, which the blurb is essentially the trailer for the book. Well, obviously you do have trailers for books, but you know what I mean. They tell you what the book is about. I do think that you could tell me what this book is about without spoiling that Danica and the pack die. Because if I hadn't read it after I finished the book, just because I was curious, I would have been spoiled, and I think that my whole experience of the book would have been ruined. So yes, please do not put spoilers in the blurb. It's really annoying. It just ruins your experience of the book, and we don't want that. So just to wrap up this analysis, I really did enjoy the book because I did enjoy the plot. I think the plot was well constructed, and that's what made me enjoy the book, even if I didn't enjoy the ending that much. And I really did enjoy the world as well and the characters. I thought the world was really well fleshed, even though it was not well built. But once you get the hang of it, it's a really, really nice world. It's a very imaginative world, and I just love it. I really, really enjoy the world. But I just wish it was built better. And I think that the characters are amazing. I really enjoyed the characters. I realize that I haven't spoken much about them, but I think that you can get an idea of what I think with what I said. But it's just, I cannot get past the fact that the world building is not that correctly, that the book is too long for what it should have been, and the fact that the swear words make the writing seem childish, because when there's no swear words, or when you get past of them, it's such a beautifully written book. And it's just a shame, because I want to give this book 3 stars because of those things. I hope that the next one I can give more stars if I enjoy it more. I do have an account that this is the first book in a series, and it's also the first book in an adult series, so maybe she's just testing new waters and seeing what happens. So yeah, Crescent City gets 3 stars from me, just because I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed her other books, and I do see some problems with it that I don't see in her other books. So this is all that I have for you guys today. If you have read Crescent City and want to continue in the comments, please feel free to do so. I will answer your comments as soon as I can. If you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up so that I can see your love. Give me a subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see more content like this. And I hope to see you all soon. Goodbye!